What's up, YouTube? This is Faye. Welcome to my channel. This is my first video. I'm so new to this, but this is what faith looks like, and this is just following God, obeying God. So God did tell me to create a YouTube channel. So I welcome you all to this journey, to walk with me on this journey, from broken to purpose. So let's just get into the video. So God actually called me to leave my secular job back in August, and I was a bit confused because I do have 3 daughters that are my world, and I didn't really know how I would provide for them. Their dad, he does help me 100% of the time. However, I'm used to doing my part as well. So I obeyed God. I questioned him. I was confused. I was back and forth. I'm gonna be transparent. So I was a bit confused, but I did it. And so fast forward, God did some things in my life. He did some internal work. We always say we surrender to God and we submit, and we just follow everything He says. However, sometimes we don't always submit and surrender everything to Him. I got to a point where I just surrendered everything. I surrendered my life, my children, my finances, everything, my whole life I surrendered to Him. But a lot of people don't talk about the yes and what comes after the yes. It's not an easy process, but we have to endure the process. So I endured the process. It was days and nights I cried, and I didn't know how I was gonna make it. But I made it, with the strength of God. He kept me the entire way. And again, He just did the internal work. I allowed Him to do the work. It was times I wanted to give up, but I couldn't, because I knew that I said yes, and I didn't want to go back on my yes. And so I obeyed. I did exactly what He told me to do. I had to work on my emotional health, my mental health, a lot of things. I wanted to call people. God wouldn't allow me to call people. It was just me and Him. He sat me down and we talked, we conversated, just me and Him. And I opened up my heart, and I truly let Him in. And I had to declutter some things. I had to let some people go. We all hear that, you have to let some stuff go, let some people go, and family, friends, all of it. And I did that. It was painful, but it was necessary. And so with that, I stayed in my word. I stayed, doing the things that God called me to do, which was study, pray, journal. I journaled a lot. I found myself journaling more than ever. It became a routine, a habit, and I enjoyed it. I prayed more, fasted more, just felt so much lighter. I was able to let God really do the work inside of me. And again, it was painful, but He was there. He comforted me, he blanketed me, he shielded me, He protected me, and with that, He also provided. He provided for me and my children. So when I look back, when I look back over my life, I don't know how, but I know it was God. It was all God, none of me. He will always get the glory from my life. And I allowed Him to do the work. It was painful. Sometimes I really, truly thought I was losing my mind. But with it all, I can stand here today and say that He never left my side. He's just so good. The Father is so good. And He's so near. He's nearer than the air that we breathe. And so, I'll move forward, because I don't want to make a long video. And I allowed Him to do the work. It was almost like an isolation. That's what, if we would call it an isolation period in the wilderness. It was just me and God. And so there were some things I had to let go. Family, friends, my car. God asked me, I am your ultimate provider. I will provide for you. I will supply you your daily bread. And I didn't understand that. He allowed the scriptures to just open up. I was able to interpret and to receive those scriptures in a different way. Like it became illuminated to me. It was just so, I don't know, it was different. But that came with me allowing him to do the work, because I would pray and well, God, I want to see you in a different way. I want to be able to read that word and eat and sleep in your word. Your word is the word that gives you life. And so, just the daily bread, he helped me to understand that in a deeper sense. And I understand now that he provided me my daily bread. I went without nothing. I didn't have a job. I didn't, I may have called my kid's father. I don't know if I said baby daddy in the beginning. I want to take that back. I don't like that. My kid's father. I may have called him a couple times to help me with something, but you know, other than he's always helped me, so it's not like he's a bad father. He's always supported me with the children, and we've always been able to meet each other halfway. But again, he helped me with some stuff, but God just continued to supply. He supplied me. He provided for us. Not one bill in my house got cut off. I didn't have a car, but I was able to use my kid's father, his car, when I needed to go some places, back and forth with school and stuff. And I'm being transparent and open with you. God told me to get on here and be authentic and just be myself, and I'm being myself, And I pray that someone will receive this. I pray that someone would this would be a help to somebody, encourage somebody. And again, so moving forward, I and so and yeah, so I just follow God. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. So this is all new to me, y'all. Like I see other people, other women, women of God that are just like their first video, and it's just like, you just got to follow God. You got to obey him. I don't even know how to do this. All I know is hit record and I'm recording. I don't have all the utensils. I don't have the standard thing, whatever it is. I don't have none of that. I just got my phone. I don't have a laptop. I don't have a setup. Anyway, so just obey God. That's what all I'm saying. Just obey him. Don't worry about how and when and what. Just do what he say do it. So that's what I'm doing by faith. So yeah, so he sustained me. He paid every bill. We didn't lack anything. And as I continued on that journey in the wilderness, God placed me on that refining fire. God stripped me from things, idols, just all kind of trauma. He healed me, delivered me. It was so much. And, I can stand here today to say I'm better. I can stand here and say that I have he gets the glory and I the victory, and I'm so proud of how far I've come. It was so many times I wanted to give up, but I knew I couldn't, and he wouldn't allow me. And so, yeah, I allowed him to do the work. And so, as I continued on that journey, I read, I fasted, I prayed. I kept hearing something in my spirit. And what I kept hearing, I didn't understand. And I kept hearing this one word, and I would see this word flash before my eyes. And it was Texas. And so I kept saying, well, God, why do I keep feeling this? Why I keep hearing this? Why I keep singing this? What is it? And God, he finally told me as I prayed, he revealed to me that he wanted me to leave and move to Texas. I had to relocate. And you'll come across a lot of videos where God is calling a lot of his children to move. And I am one of them. And so, yeah, he called me to move, and I didn't understand. I fought him back and forth with that too. And I was like, God, ain't no way, and when I think about it, a lot of people just didn't understand. Family ain't gonna understand. Friends ain't gonna understand. People just like, first of all, how you gonna leave your job when you got these kids? Anything that is, the world won't understand. So, a carnal mind would not get it. will not get the things of the spirit. And that's why, children of God, you just have to continue to follow God. And no matter what nobody got to say, what people say, it doesn't matter. I had to truly be delivered from worrying about what people had to say. And so, yes, he called me to relocate, a physical move to Texas. And so I would pray and say, God, I don't understand. I've never been there. This is a big city. I live in a small country. I'm from Georgia, a small little town. And, and I've always wanted to move, but I never knew. I never said Texas. It would be somewhere that I visited before if it was me. But God said Texas. And so I asked for, my arms get tired, y'all. These are actually my girls. Like was a little shirt, little, but anyway. And so, he told me Texas, and I would ask him, please just send me confirmations, please, God, I just want confirmations. And so he gave me confirmation. He told me that he would provide those confirmation, reveal them to me continuously throughout the whole time until it was time for me to go. And so this was a process. I didn't just get up and say, okay, I'm going. I had to wait on him to give me a time frame, when to leave, how to leave, what to do. And so again, it was a process. But I stayed with it. I prayed, I fasted. He would confirm those things through people in, really my family. Some had dreams. My pastor, he confirmed it with him. So it was a lot of confirmation that God did allow. So when God is telling you to move, just allow him to give you, pray and ask him for confirmation, and he will give it to you. If he's asking you to leave, and see, a lot of people, they get it mixed up, and they say, well, I just want to move because I want a new start. This ain't about a new start, because I was fine where I was. This is all God. And I want people to understand that, because my family like, yeah, it's always good to start over. No, baby. Faye was okay where she was. I'm not going to say I was content. Yes, I did want more. But I never in a million years thought about moving to Texas. I mean, never. But I'm here. And so, yeah, and so he just kept laying it on my heart, and so I did my research. I mean, I was on it, and he just kept showing me different stuff. Even on YouTube, it was videos he would lead me to. It's women of God that I'm truly following. I follow them every single day. Like, I look at their videos. It encourages me. And in a lot of the he didn't allow me to go to church at that time. He had me kind of sitting at home. But on Sunday morning, I would get up, and Saturday night, I would prepare Sunday morning church for my children. So we had church. Right at our dining room table. I would have activities for them. So I would pour into my children. That's another thing, women of God. We have to pour into our children. Our children are the future, and they need to have a relationship, a firm foundation with the Lord. We're not going to always be here, and we have to show them the way. We have to pour into them. And I always tell them, I wish I had parents that would pour into me, that poured into me, that knew the gifts in me and would cultivate and help me be who God called me to be. But I didn't, and I'm not going to dwell on that. I don't blame nobody. They did the best they could do. However, I knew, I was going to break generational curses, and I was going to pour into my kids, and I was going to train them in the way that they should go. I was going to teach them about the Father and the Holy Ghost and Jesus. And they always just said, like, Mama, you should just record all the stuff you do. You're just such a great teacher. But I did. I took time, and I still take time with my children until he leads us into a church home. And so again, I just did those things. I just followed God. I kept asking for confirmation. I prepared. When he said pack, I packed. I kept saying, well, God, when I need to pack, when am I going? He wouldn't give me a specific date. Now, some women you'll see on here, and it's crazy because I've never seen a man do a video, but some women of God on here, if you follow on YouTube, you'll see that God gave them a specific date, where to move. Now, God did tell me where to move in Texas. He did. He gave me that. But he didn't give me a specific date right then and there. So I had to kind of, just trust the Holy Ghost. And I had to just continue to pray and fast. And when I felt the time, well, He didn't give me a specific date, but he spoke through someone else and said, okay, now it's your time. It's time to go. And you would feel it. He would cause confusion. He would cause confusion in the place where you are no longer, is the time is up. You know, he will close every door. It was times where I was trying to get a job. I was like, ain't no way God just got me like this. I'm telling you, now I'm going back because this is like when he first told me to go, I was struggling because I couldn't. I was like, ain't no way God telling me to go way to Texas. I got to pay these bills. I got the kids. But he had to break me down and show me I am your provider. I will provide for you. You follow me and do what I say do, and you just trust me. Will you have trust in me? Do you trust me to lead you? And so I had to get to a place where I surrendered everything, and I still struggled. There was days I woke up like, ain't no way, okay, God, I'm getting down to the last. I got to go get a job. Like, that's just our mind. Like, especially when you used to working. Like, I had to come out of that, the ways of the world. So I surrendered those things to him. And I said, okay, God told me, he said, I don't want you working a 9 to 5 ever again. And a lot of people gonna give you backlash about that too. Because it's like, well, how, you just lazy. How you ain't gonna want to work when the government take for you? What? No, the Lord is the provider. And people gonna say whatever they want to say. And if God called you out, he called you out, and you have to obey. And again, the world is not going to understand, and it's not for them to understand. As long as you hear from God and you obey him, you do what the Father tells you to do. And so I struggled though. And so, but I finally surrendered it all, and he provided. I mean, he did. Nothing went off. I'm just so grateful. I love the Father so much. And so again, I'm going on 16 minutes, but it's not too long. I've been watching YouTube a lot lately, and I can't get into them long videos. It's too much. They're too long. Now sometimes I will, depending on who it is, but I can't watch a hour video. I don't know. And maybe it's bad, but I can't. Anyways, so so yeah, he kept impressing it on me, and I did my research. I was like, where I need to go, and I was still scared at the same time, but I had to call out. I had to stay in my word. My word kept my mind. I had to keep my mind stayed on him, because the enemy, I had went through so much warfare. Yes, all those things will come, but God, he kept reminding me, you're on the battlefield. I'm training you for what's about to come, and you need to know how to fight in the spirit. So I knew when it was time to fight, and I knew when it was time to rest, and you ask for God to give you that discernment, and he will give it to you, and he gave it to me. So I knew when it was time for me to rest. And so I rested when it was time for me to rest. And so yeah, and I just did the work. I did my research, and he didn't release me to tell a lot of people, but he did release me at one point to tell my mom. I told her, and to tell my kid's father. And just being transparent, my kid's father, he was a little, he is a man that cares for his children. He's involved with them. He take time. He makes sure he's there for them. So, but I had to, at first I got kind of mad about it. My flesh got in the way, and I started to backlash and go back. But God had to sit me down and say, no, let me handle this. So I had to learn how to pray when people came up against me. And God took care of it, Now my mom, she was always supportive. She of course, she didn't want her baby to leave, but she knew that I was following God. And so she was supportive. She kind of helped me pack, and and so I packed, and time was going by. I was getting nervous and more nervous, and I knew I had to keep that word. I had to keep that word at the forefront, and I had to speak that word over my life. I had to prophesy that word over my life, that that I am more than a conqueror. I don't have nothing to fear. God did not give me a spirit of fear. I had to speak the word over me. I had to proclaim some things over me and my children. And warfare came heavy when it was time to leave. It was so much to the point where I had like a slight accident. A car didn't hit me. This is a day before it was time to leave. A car didn't hit me, but my car, it was wet outside, and the wheel went in the ditch. And so the whole car was on the side, and I thought it was gonna flip over. This is the day before it was time for me to go, and I said, Lord, and I had so much warfare, guys. But again, you have to pray fast and just keep going and keep going. Don't stop, don't stop. I don't care. And God would always see me. He always will see us through. He's seen me through, and I know if He did it for me, He'll do it for you. And so yeah, I went with the flow. I packed. I had to, it was times where I had my kids, they was getting, especially my oldest daughter, she in high school. So it was hard for us because, where our hometown is all we know. We stayed there for years, and there's our family. We know everybody, we got friends, and it was hard for us to leave. But again, God allowed me to, talk to the girls, and I had to teach them. I had to take them to Genesis and tell them about Abraham. So it was a lot of things that God laid on my heart to teach them about the Bible. And they know their mama. They know how I am about their word. They know that I'm all for God, and don't nobody come before God. And I love my kids with all my heart, but they know that God is supposed to be first in your life, and I teach them that as well. So yeah, guys. So speed up. I left Georgia literally, and I am going to add some clips here. I got to learn how to do all this stuff. So we packed up, we got a U-Haul, and we left Georgia. What day was Sunday? We left Georgia last Sunday, which was the 3rd. March 3rd, 2024. We left Georgia and we drove to Texas. I did stop in Mississippi, the halfway point. I got us a room and we slept. We got up and drove the rest of the way. The girls did pretty good. We were so excited. We played music, we prayed, we talked to God. We did so much. It was like, and I'm kind of glad, because I was thinking like, well, God, they ain't never rode a plane before, and I didn't really want to ride a plane because I want them to kind of see. Ain't that like a good old road trip? And so we were able to see different things, and I'll insert those clips. And so, yeah, so we made it to Texas Monday, March the 4th, which was Monday, and we are here. This is where we're in Texas, and we got a little homesick. We did a little crying, because again, we're used to home. But I had to continue to stand that word, and knowing that God told us all things new, and what's behind us, let whatever behind you be behind you. Look forward to what's new. And so I'm here. God has called me here. Do I know what He's kind of revealed to me, like what He would have me doing, like ministry, but I haven't, not 100% sure. So again, sometimes He would call you to do things, and it don't make sense, y'all. Like, it just don't. I'm just gonna be honest, y'all. None of these make sense. Sometimes I feel like I'm just like, oh God, what am I doing? What's next? I don't know. Like, I cry, and I'm just like, God, what do you want me to do? I don't want to be homeless, And truly, I'm a single mother here with 3 daughters, and I'm pretty much homeless. We live in a Airbnb right now. We're staying in an Airbnb. I don't have a car. I'm driving my rental car. So I'm here on nothing but faith. This is what faith looks like. And I also follow a girl named Nisha. She's on YouTube as well. Her journey is kind of, it's similar to mine. God called her to leave, and we don't want to take our children through this, but God is trying to teach all of us something. God is doing a work in all of us. And that's why you have to be prayerful. You have to fast. You got to teach your kids to depend on God, and you have to teach them, because everything in this world is going down except for the word of God. And God is doing a thing. He's doing something I don't know. I can feel a shift coming. I know that He's moving a lot of His children around. There's a lot of people moving. I don't know what God is up to, but He's up to something big. And I pray He don't leave me out. And so, yeah, and you have to stay in a place of, you just have to be surrendered, a surrendered life. And it's a heart posture, trusting the will of the Father. And when you give your yes to Him, just be prepared for what's to come after that. Because when I gave it to Him, I didn't know all of this was coming. I had to give up a lot, y'all. I had to give up a lot. And, I'm stronger now. But I cried many nights. I really thought I was losing my mind, and I didn't have nobody. All I had was God. And He wants us to be like that. He's an open book. He already knows, but He just wants a relationship with us. He desires a relationship with His children. He loves us so much. If people knew how much He loved us. And I'm just reminded that I didn't get saved in the church. I wasn't brought up in the church. I wasn't brought up in the church. I didn't know, and I just want to share this quick, testimony. I got saved in a yard. I was just so tired of trying to do things on my own. And this is when I was homeless at this point. I lost my house. I lost my job. I lost my car. I lost everything literally in 1 month. And so I was tired, and I surrendered it all to God. Like, it had to be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning on a yard in just a front yard of someone's house. And I literally, God saved me right then and there. He blew, it was like the wind of God just captured me. And as soon as I got up, I